Marwan Bishara is Al Jazeera's senior political analyst. He joins us once again from London. So, Marwan, why are we seeing all of these NATO members capitulating to Donald Trump, praising his leadership and the fact that he's forced them to increase their defence spending?
It is indeed extraordinary that they do that. And they had a good number of years to rethink their subservience to the American president. But it seems like they're quite divided, quite weak, quite dependent on the United States. There's been some initiatives, like on the part of France, for Europe to be more autonomous in terms of its security. But there are certainly, a number of countries like Germany, Poland, and others who are not interested. They just want to continue to be dependent on the United States. And I think the American president has come to them with basically an ultimatum. If you don't, support what I provide as an ultimatum, then, all bets are off. He continues to play in a smuggish kind of way with Article 5 that has to do with, if one attack, all is attacked. And that worries the Europeans after what happened to Ukraine. Having said all of that, I must stress that Europe has a larger, greater military budget than Russia, has a far greater capabilities than Russia. Russia spends $149 billion a year. Europe spends far more and has far more sophisticated weapons. But for some reason, they somehow got addicted to American protection, and they continue to appease an American president for that end.
So given that disparity, how necessary is it that these European countries do spend extra on defence?
I don't think there's any need whatsoever. If there is a need in terms of changing the spending, it's America that needs to reduce its spending. America spends about $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Imagine what $1 trillion can do to children in the United States, to young people in the United States, to children and young people around the world, to the health sector, to the education sector. But for some reason, we are stuck with a world whereby there have to be so many aircraft carriers all over the place, and there have to be a renewal of nuclear weapons in the United States, in France, and Britain, when the NPT, which everyone seems to be quoting nowadays, the NPT says that countries like Iran needs to respect, but also countries like Russia, China, France, England, and the United States needs to respect. The NPT actually says that all these countries need to reduce their nuclear weapons. None of them are doing that. They're asking Iran to respect the NPT, but none of them are. They're spending more money on it.
I mean, we're only seeing Spain, aren't we, really standing firm and saying it cannot spend more than, I think, 2.1% of its GDP. Trump has already threatened repercussions against Madrid. Do you think he'll go through with those?
It seems, if I understood correctly, that there's been some kind of understanding that it's okay, Spain can get away with it because it can make up for the figures with providing resources. But Spain is so right. It's so correct about that. What is Spain worried about? Why should Spain be spending more than 2% of its GDP on defense? What is it going to be worried about? Morocco attacking it? Algeria attacking it? What is it exactly worried about? What is Europe worried about when Trump is befriending Putin and trying to put an end to the Ukraine war? At the end of the day, they throw these figures around. They want to go up to 3.5% of the GDP, 5% of the GDP. Already the world expenditures on military is $2.7 trillion, 10% increase in just 1 year. 10% increase just 1 year. So Europe is not simply defending itself, as Mark Rutte would like to say. Europe is pushing for an arms race around the world. It's true that by now, between China and Russia, they are spending $500 billion. But the West is spending more than $1.5 trillion, and it's far more advanced weaponry. What all of them, meaning China, Russia, the European Union, and the United States need to do is to start talking about reducing the military expenditures, reducing their nuclear armaments, instead of pushing the entire world into spending more on defense. Today, Saudi Arabia is spending more than $80 billion. Why Saudi Arabia should do that? Israel is spending more than $60 billion, when Iran is spending less than $10 billion. So there's some discrepancy in all these figures. And yet, and that's where I think all of us should be aware of, is that this is celebrated in The Hague. It's celebrated. The Hague was supposed to be the seat of international law and decency. What we see today is the celebration of an arms race. The world does not need an arms race. It doesn't need more wars in Ukraine and in Palestine and in the Gulf. It needs sober statesmen to be able to reduce the military expenditures and reduce the conflicts.
Marwan Bishara joining us there from London. Many thanks.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.